The snow fell in silent, sorrowful waves against the cafe window, each flake a cold echo of the disappointment settling in Leo's bones. Across from him, the perfectly nice woman from the dating app was already gathering her coat, her smile polite but final, her eyes avoiding the small, framed photo of his 5-year-old daughter, Maya, he'd placed carefully on the table between them. "You seem like a great guy, Leo," she said, her voice softened with a pity that cut deeper than anger. "It's just, a full-time single dad on Christmas Eve, that's a lot to step into." And with that, the fourth blind date of the season ended, not with a bang, but with a whisper of rejection that sounded an awful lot like his deepest fear. He and Maya were a package deal no one wanted to unwrap. If you believe in kindness, in the magic of second chances, and in stories where love arrives in the most unexpected ways, then do us a kindness in return. Like this video, share it with someone who needs a lift, comment "I believe" below, and subscribe to Grandpa's Book. For more tales that mend the heart. The walk home through the sparkling, festive streets was a blur of lonely contradiction. Laughter spilled from houses adorned with twinkling lights. Each window a diorama of family wholeness that made Leo's chest ache. His world, since his wife Clara's passing 2 years ago, was a meticulously balanced act of love and exhaustion. Early mornings packing lunches, late nights soothing nightmares, and a constant, gnawing worry that he wasn't enough. Maya was his entire universe, a bright, artistic soul who drew pictures of their family with 3 stick figures, always asking where the mommy-shaped hole in their lives had gone. The blind dates, pushed by his worried sister, were a desperate attempt to fill that hole, each rejection confirming his creeping dread that their story was already written, a tale of just 2. Christmas Eve day dawned brittle and bright. Determined to create magic for Maya, Leo took her to the city's grand tree lighting in the town square. Maya, in her puffy red coat, squealed with delight, her small mittened hand tight in his. The crowd was thick, a sea of scarves and joy. And then, in a heartbeat of terror, her hand was gone. Maya, Leo's voice, raw with panic, was swallowed by the carols. He shoved through the crowd, his heart a frantic drum against his ribs, visions of every parent's worst nightmare blinding him. He found her moments later, but not alone. She was standing by the hot chocolate stand, her tiny hand securely held by a woman who was kneeling at her eye level. The woman, Lena, had a calm, gentle face framed by a dark woolen hat, eyes the color of warm amber that held a depth of their own quiet sorrow. "Daddy, this is Lena. I got lost, and I cried, and she found me, and she's sad too. Her little boy is sick in the hospital over there." Maya babbled, pointing across the square to the city hospital. Lena stood up, releasing Maya's hand. "I'm so sorry," Leo stammered, sweeping Maya into a crushing hug, his gratitude so profound it stole his breath. Thank you so much." He saw it then, the weary shadows under Lena's eyes, the way her gaze kept drifting to the hospital's upper windows. She was an island of quiet anxiety in the sea of cheer. On an impulse born of shared, unspoken understanding, Leo heard himself say, Can I get you a hot chocolate? It's the least I can do." She hesitated, then nodded, a fragile smile touching her lips. They sat on a cold bench near the carolers, Maya between them, chattering about reindeer. Lena spoke softly. Her son, Illy, was 7, and had been admitted with a severe asthma attack the night before. He was stable, but would have to stay through Christmas. Her husband, she explained, her voice dropping to a near whisper, had left them the previous year, unable to handle the pressures of Illy's chronic illness. He said it was too heavy, she said, staring at her cup, so now it's just me. The afternoon light began to fade, painting the sky in hues of lavender and rose. Maya, inspired, pulled out a stubby crayon and a wrinkled paper from Leo's pocket and began to draw. As they talked, about the exhausting beauty of single parenting, about dreams deferred, about the quiet loneliness of being strong for everyone else, a connection, delicate as a snowflake, began to form. It wasn't romance, not yet. It was the profound recognition of two soldiers on the same battlefield, seeing each other for the first time. When it was time to go, Leo walked Lena back to the hospital entrance, the words of comfort feeling inadequate. They paused under the stark portico, the joyful noise of the square feeling worlds away. Maya, hugging Lena's legs, said, "I don't want you to be alone on Christmas." Lena's eyes filled, and she looked from Maya's earnest face to Leo's. The weight of the day, the loneliness, the fear for her son, and this unexpected, simple kindness seemed to crash over her all at once. She took a shaky breath, her amber eyes locking onto Leo's with a vulnerability that left him breathless. "Leo," she said, her voice barely audible but clear in the cold air, "I know this is the most unconventional, forward, possibly insane thing you'll ever hear." She paused, a single tear tracing a path down her cheek. "But my son in there, he asked me for only one thing for Christmas. He asked, 'Can I have a new dad?'" She swallowed hard, her gaze never wavering. "So I have to ask, knowing everything, the mess, the fear, the hospital visits, can you be my new husband?" The world stopped. The carols, the bells, the laughter, all muffled into a silent rush. It wasn't a proposal of passion, but one of profound, daring hope. A plea for a shared future built not on perfection, but on mutual repair. Leo looked at this strong, broken, incredible woman, then down at his daughter, who was nodding fervently as if it was the most obvious solution in the world. He felt not the weight of the request, but the lifting of his own solitary burden. He saw not a question, but an answer to a prayer he'd been too afraid to utter. If this moment, this raw, brave leap of faith, has touched your heart, if you feel that warmth spreading in your chest, please let us know. Share your thoughts in the comments. Tell us what family means to you, and if this story moved you, please share it. Because love stories like this deserve to be told. He didn't have flowers or a ring. All he had was his truth. He reached out, taking her cold hands in his. "I can't be a husband today," he said softly, and he saw the flicker of despair in her eyes. "But I can be a friend. I can be here, right now, and tomorrow we can all have Christmas together, right here in Illy's room, and after that, we can figure out the rest, one day at a time." It wasn't a yes to her question. It was a yes to something better, a beginning. Before we see how their story unfolds, I'd love to hear from you. What would you have said in that moment? Leave a comment below with your answer. The next morning, Leo and Maya arrived at the hospital room, arms laden with presents and a small, lopsided tree Maya had made from construction paper. Illy, a small boy with Lena's eyes, lit up with a smile that outshone the tinsel. And as they spent that most unusual, perfect Christmas together, four wounded hearts creating a new, fragile, beautiful whole, Leo understood. Love doesn't always arrive on a blind date, dressed in perfection. Sometimes it finds you lost in a crowd, holds your hand through the fear, and asks the bravest, simplest question of all, can we try? And sometimes the most magical families aren't the ones you start with, but the ones you find, piece by piece, under the glow of a Christmas tree in a hospital room, where a new story was just beginning.